on in my mom journey, I realized that just like anything else in life, I don't like to do things solo. So I joined a bunch of mom groups. So I joined in-person ones, and I love my online communities of moms. You know, it's changed a little bit over the years where I meet moms online, but it's still like so important for me because I love feedback. I like learning from others. I like research. And so when I talk to other moms, it can kind of cut down on my research, right? I like reviews and all the things. And so when I'm in my mom groups these days, one thing that just shows up a lot, and I don't know if you guys see the same thing, is a lot of moms of kids who are kindergartners, maybe first graders, second graders, maybe even third graders. They are super concerned because their kids are struggling with reading, and with the way that the world went the last few years, they didn't necessarily, get the same instruction they usually would. And I feel like we have a even bigger gap right now of the kids that are just fine and they're reading and life is great, and the kids that are just really struggling. And moms are like, I don't know, I don't know how to help them. I don't know what to do. So I wanted to jump on here and share a little bit of my wisdom as a mom and a teacher. So number one, if your child goes to school, make sure when the teacher tells you they're behind in reading, you right away ask the question back at them. Okay, I hear that. I really want to help my child. And also, I would love to know, what are you and the school doing to help my child? Your schools should have reading intervention programs, no matter where in the United States you live. And if your child is struggling, there should be an intervention program where your child is in. If the teacher is telling you your child needs extra help, then they better giving them extra help too. That's me as a mom and a teacher telling you. So advocate for them. It's okay to say, I get it. I want to help. What are you doing too? So that would definitely be my first tip. And then I wanted to go a little bit into something that just kills me when I hear parents share, my child's struggling with reading, and everybody's like, oh, just practice their sight words. I am here to tell you that's really nice, and I think it's an easy thing to do. However, knowing sight words does not mean your child can read, and it doesn't even really help them to learn to read. And I know that may be super unpopular because it's an easy thing to do at home. It doesn't help your child with reading. It does, however, possibly encourage guessing. And when you really want to dig into that, look up the science of reading. Anything you will read about there will tell you that sight words is not how we learn to read. Now, I know a whole generation was raised on see, Jane, go, and all that stuff. I was not born here. My reading education was very different. I'm an English language learner. You can probably tell in my accent. However, I was taught to read in a very different way, and it worked very well. So I really believe in the science of reading way, and you at home can do the same thing without all these sight word flashcards. Like, seriously, let them go. So 2 things you want to do. You want to practice letters, sounds with your child. The letter names don't really matter that much. Letter sounds, practice letter sounds. And the second thing is, a lot of kids know their letter sounds, but then they can't blend the words. So you want to blend the words. And I'm going to give you a little snapshot of things you can do. I do have notes because I have a huge scroll brain. So just bear with me. When I look down, I'm looking at my notes. So let's talk about letter practice. Don't pick a whole bunch of letters at once. If your child does go to school, make sure that you know which letters they are working on currently at school, or check with the teacher which letters they would want you to practice. If your child is homeschooled or online schooled and it's hard to reach the teacher, what you can do is take a piece of paper, write all 26 letters of the alphabet down, maybe out of order would be beneficial, and then see which sounds your child can tell you. Again, don't worry about the letters, worry about the sounds, and then make sure you practice not like B and D the same week, the B, D sound, do them different times, but pick maybe 4 a week or 5 a week to practice so you don't overwhelm your child, and do fun things with that. Don't hold up flashcards. Like, I wouldn't even want to sit through that. So let's not make our kids do that because it's boring for all of us around. Here's a few things. What if you get some magnetic letters? You can get them typically even at the dollar store. Amazon sells them too, but you do not, that doesn't have to break the bank. You put them in, you take a bag of beans, pinto beans, dump them in a shoebox, and you hide the letters you want your child to practice in there. And they can do a little bit of a letter dig. They fish the letter out, they say the sound, they dig it back up, they hide it again. And you keep digging and you play, and you can get that box out 5 minutes a day and you just practice letters. What about magazines? My kids, even when they were really tiny, they loved my magazines. So once you're done reading a magazine, grab a highlighter. They feel super important with a highlighter. Show them the sound that you want them to find, and they can highlight in the magazine the letter sound, and every time they find it, they say the sound. So if they're looking for a C today, then every time they find the letter C, they'll say K. Perfect. Easy breezy practice where you don't need a lot, and they love it because they get to use big people stuff, and every child loves that. How about you go and type into Google coloring pages where with letter C, and they can color them. And as you do that together, you keep reminding them of the letter sound. Another thing you can do is, as you read books together, which I really, really hope you do every day, about 20, 30 minutes at the minimum, as you read books together, have your child find that letter sound that you are practicing today, or maybe the 2 or 3. Okay, but if you really focus on one that they're struggling with, that's a really great start too. So find it in books. And another fun thing, as weather permitting, of course, that my children really love to do is when I put some letters on the sidewalk with sidewalk chalk, the ones that we're practicing, and they can jump from one to the other and say the sound that letter makes. And now we are getting some really great exercise in. They love to jump, and we practice their letter sounds. So see, it can be very, very simple. You don't need a lot of tools. The dollar store has everything you need. Now, we also said it's great when kids know their letter sounds, but they need to blend them too, right? And that can be really, really tricky. I have met so many kids that where parents tell me they know sounds, but they can't do anything with them. So what you do to help them practice and make it not frustrating for the two of you is don't even use any written letters, but we're going to start with you just playing games with them. All you need is your mouth to talk and your ears to listen, and the same thing for your child. So guess what? You can do that in the car. You can do that on the way to sports practice. You can do it pretty much anywhere. You can do it together as they're taking a shower or a bath in the evening. It's super, super simple. So you can fit it into your day that's already super busy, right? A few things that I like to do is, for example, that I give my child sounds and they clap the word together. So for example, I would say, all right, let's stretch it out. I have these sounds, k, at, k, at, makes the word cat as I put it together. And then I have my child practice with me. And if you're at the very beginning stages, they're not going to get this right away. You're going to do it lots of times with them. But eventually you can go, and they'll say man. And when they can do these things orally, when they say the sounds when they're reading, they're going to have a much easier time to blend them together. Another way that you can do it is just that you say, oh, let's stretch and snap the words. So you're doing the same concept again. For example, I'll say ch, ik, chick, App, sap, app, nap. And when you use word families, like I just did with sap and nap, and maybe you add map and tap and rap, it gets easier for your child after a little while because they rhyme and they know what to expect. And then you can switch it up to another word family, maybe mat and cat and sat and hat, and then maybe pit and hit and kit. Okay, see that pattern? And those are great ways to help your child with reading. Your time is much better used in those than sitting there with flashcards for sight words. And then you go to a book and your child maybe reads a few of the sight words, but nothing else. And you're like, this isn't working. I don't know what to do. I'm so frustrated. And really all you do is you can play together very easily and have some success, because schoolwork doesn't have to be boring. Learning to read does not have to be boring. And if you want to do some more of that learning to blend, and you have a child who's super kinesthetic, meaning they need to move a lot, maybe they went to school and you have a really wiggly one, I do, and they need a lot of movement when they come home from school, then you could even do a sound hop where they hop one time for each time you say a sound. And then as they put it together, maybe they do a jumping jack, and now they are getting to use their whole body. It can be super, super simple, just like that. So I hope this was helpful for you. I hope you realize I am super passionate about reading. I'm passionate about all things moms and reading. So I'm curious if you have questions about reading, pop them in these comments, because I would be happy to help you with that. You're always welcome to send me a message, and I'm excited to share something new next time.